listening to The Announcer's Table with Daryl and Ian. This podcast is presented by RingIcon.com, the social networking site for wrestlers, fans, promoters, and everything indie wrestling. Log on today and create your profile, and as always, enjoy the show.
Hey guys, this is Ian.
I'm Daryl.
And today we have B. James on for an interview.
Yeah, and if y'all are wondering who B. James is, they have a documentary that they've been filming. Ian and I have actually talked about it on the show before. It's called Wrestlin, North Georgia Style. This is their Kickstarter campaign right here behind us. They're trying to reach a goal of $1,500 in the next 40 days so they can help get this thing edited, produced, and made. I'm excited. We're actually in the documentary. A bunch of wrestlers from North Georgia are in the documentary. I've seen clips of it, which we'll have played in the background. It looks really good. Talking to B. James and Mr. Brown, who's this tall guy right here in the background. I'm excited. I know they're excited. Yeah. And talking to B. James as much as I have, he is very, very passionate about wrestling. His knowledge of wrestling is insane. I mean, it literally
wrestling
blows
encyclopedia.
Me, yeah, he blows me out of the water with the stuff that he knows, and him and I have talked about outside of Ring Icon and stuff like that. Him and I have been messaging back and forth. So, B. James, we want to welcome you to the show, sir.
Hey guys, thank you for having me, and man, it's an honor to do this, and thanks for what you guys do for indie wrestling, man. It's preserving it's well worth the cost.
Yeah, we love indie wrestling. We love wrestling in general. Obviously, you know, I grew up in wrestling with my family, and so I grew up in indie wrestling with my family.
Yeah.
And so I love it. And so anything we could do to help the cause and stuff like that. Like I was just telling the fans, you're doing this Kickstarter campaign for the documentary you're doing. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, sir?
Yeah, it's called Wrestlin, North Georgia Style, the documentary. Tom Brown, Jessica Smith, and myself, there's three of us kind of working on this. It's going to be a full-length movie. We're shooting for like an hour-and-a-half feature. We've shot 12 or 13 locations, about 35, 40 hours of footage right now. We've got a few more interviews to do. And we're going to really, we're going to show this at a local theater here in Dolphin, maybe a community theater is our goal. And we're hoping to get this out by late fall.
Yeah. That's great. I mean, we're definitely looking forward to, you know, an indie documentary, because there aren't very many documentaries about the indie scene, and especially about North Georgia, because I really feel there's a huge difference between wrestling in the Southeast compared to the Northeast and things like that. I think there's a really big difference between the two. So.
Yeah. Oh, no doubt. Yeah, because the Memphis style is different from what you're going to see up north. Anywhere, you know, and in the South, it's special here to us, the wrestling fans.
Yeah. Now, B, we have the documentary Kickstarter played right behind us that I'm trying to go in. Now, outside of this documentary, I know you're a very spiritual person. I know you do a lot of stuff with your church as far as wrestling goes. Would you like to talk about some of that stuff that you're doing?
Absolutely. I'm never going to be under a blanket or a quilt about my faith in the Lord. We recently had a wrestling revival service at our church. And what we wanted to do was, we had several speakers. Alex Davis came and spoke, who's a former WCW superstar. I spoke. Clarence Keith, who's from SSPW, came and spoke. Kevin Walker from BCW came and spoke. And we just wanted to, let the wrestlers in this area know that, hey, how we reach out to the church and show them Christ. That's what we wanted to do for this night. We had a wonderful time. But, we wanted to reach out to the wrestlers because, we felt like some of them felt like, hey, I'm not welcome at church. But yes, you are. God welcomes everyone. We wanted to show the wrestlers that. Had a wonderful time. We had a little ring set up where the kids could get their pictures made with the wrestlers and stuff. It was just a neat time.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is great, man. I know you do a lot of charity work. What is that one charity event you got coming up? I saw you posted on Facebook, but I can't remember what the name of it was.
Yeah, when I work in TV production, I'm probably a little bit different guest, let's say, than you normally have as far as, I work in wrestling, but in the production, television production, video production, as a huge fan. But recently, the night I first met you guys was the CWA Fight for Hope. There's a cancer benefit for Nathan Panther.
Yeah.
When I first met you guys. Here's the importance of indie wrestling preserving. It gives back to the community. It does things, and these guys, most of these wrestlers, these promoters, they have hearts of gold. They work so hard. I've got coming up a thing, which is August 16th and 17th. It's called Road to the Ring. We have a local guy named Dwayne Smith who started training in January. He's dropped from 300 down to 250. He's going to wrestle with all the money going to the Woody Warriors Project. He's going to wrestle one time only. He's taking on Doc of Aces and Age from TNA.
Wow.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We'll share a link to your Facebook page so people can check that out and check out the cause and everything. Because, I mean, to me, it's amazing. And because we're friends on Facebook, we're friends outside of Facebook, and I see a lot of stuff that you post, and like, I'm moved by it. I'm like, man, you do a lot. You're a busy person. I mean, you're constantly doing stuff with your church, with wrestling, with these special events that you do to help people out. I mean, it's amazing stuff that you do.
Yeah, I appreciate that, guys. You know, God, God gave me a life to work for Him for, and I'm going to try and use it to do works in the right fields, definitely. We have a thing coming up with Corey Dodson. He and Tiffany wrestle at TWA. His wife Tiffany actually beat him a few weeks ago. Neat story for the TWA title. But Corey had a son who died, had a lot of heart difficulties since he was born. And the Sibley Heart Institute in Chattanooga, T.C. Thompson's Erlanger, we're doing a fundraiser this November, it looks like, and we'll give all the money back to them. So we'll be involved in a lot of the promotion of this coming up. And so hopefully, you know, when we unfortunately lost Austin, maybe we can put some money there and research can be done to save other children, young children with heart problems and heart disease.
No, absolutely. And anytime you got anything going on like that, let us know. We'll be happy to promote it. We'll be happy to put it on our website, talk about it in a future show. Anything we can do to help your cause and help, you know, with charity and raising money for kids and you know, wrestle, anything like that, we would love to help.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I've got sponsors for our veterans and the cancer. My dad was a veteran, and I lost him to cancer just recently. So, man, you know, these are things that is worth putting the money into, and your time and effort. I put a lot of time and effort into this, but man, it's worth it.
Definitely.
Well, that's good. All right, well, B, we want to get into some questions. I'll start it off with the first question. What is your favorite gimmick match?
You know, I'm going to go back in time before a lot of people with some of the stuff I answer with. Like I said, I'm going to be an encyclopedia. I don't know. I'm going to go down circa 1978 or so. The favorite match I've ever seen, and I'll relate to modern times, was at the Memorial Auditorium in Chattanooga, a live match. Harley Race was NWA World Heavyweight Champion then with the 10 pounds of gold, defending as Mr. Wrestling #2. And this was a 1 hour time limit. And back then, they had the territories. It wasn't, the NWA had the territories then. This was prior to WCW, and all of that prior to WWE was WWF even. With a 1 hour time limit, anyway, awesome match, back and forth. Also, they're counting down for the time limit to expire, 5, 4, 3, and all of a sudden, at the 3 count, Mr. Wrestling #2 hits Harley Race with his $1 million knee lift, his finishing move. Race's, shoulders hit the mat, but there's only 2 seconds left when they start the 1, 2 count, and the time limit expires with one more count to go, and it wasn't quite there. So and I thought that was so important that back in the territory days, you had the world champion would come. Ever so often to your territory, you're guaranteed he was going to leave with the title. But the fans got to really see their eyes that night. All the fans, the local fans, the NWA Gillis Coach, got to see their hero, Mr. Wrestling #2, and their eyes beat the world champion. Harley Race still left with the 10 pounds of gold. And to me, it was like a 19-year-old kid watching that. It was just awesome.
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
You don't even see that anymore.
Yeah, that's a really awesome story to tell, in an hour. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen matches like that. Obviously, 78 was when I was born. So, I mean, I wasn't a wrestling fan then, But, I mean, I've seen matches like that, when I was a kid and going out. And I remember seeing Cactus Jack at the Cobb County Civic Center. And I thought that was the coolest thing. But that was before he was really known, before he was famous and everything. And I thought that was kind of cool. Because I remember looking back, I'm like, oh, man, when he started getting big as Cactus Jack, I'm like, dude, I saw him, when I was a kid. And so that was pretty awesome.
It is, and to look at the modern days of what people watch, I'll say, The Rock and John Cena. A lot of people bash on Cena, we see it on Facebook all the time, but, there's something special about the matches The Rock and John Cena have. And a lot of people just can't quite put their finger on what's so special. And it's the fact that they know what to do, when to do it, and where to do it in the ring. That's what makes them the superstars they are. And that's what, looking back now with my knowledge of inside the business, I look back on some of those matches against the kids and, man, those guys were that good. That's why they were there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Well, if you could wrestle anyone, living or dead, who would it be?
Oh, this came immediately when you guys told me that. Jim Cornette, definitely.
You want to wrestle Jim
Cornette?
Cornette?
What he does, but he the guy a real attitude in real life. I really just like to hit that guy in the eye, to be honest with you.
Jim Cornette, that's funny. I don't think anyone before you or ever after you will say Jim Cornette.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. I was not expecting that. That's awesome.
I'm probably going to give you guys some answers that no one else will ever give you guys.
All right, who is your favorite wrestler?
Oh, man, he recently died about 2 weeks ago. Without a doubt, no one's close to my book, The Fabulous Jackie Fargo.
Oh,
He started in the 50s. And wrestled up to the 80s. He was on the headline, the first ever sellout at Madison Square Garden. Spent most of his time wrestling in the Memphis area. He trained and brought Jerry Lawler into wrestling. If anybody watches film of Jackie Fargo, when he hit the ropes just more beautiful than any other body has ever hit the ropes. The guy was awesome. He did the Fargo strut, which Flair uses. He was just way before his time with the innovation he came up with.
Yeah.
Wow.
Well, if you could pick out a favorite wrestling moment, what would that be?
Oh, okay. Now this is here's one. Maybe a lot of people remember. You guys were probably young then, but I remember. What stands out in my mind just shocked the wrestling world was when Hall and Nash had just left the WWF at the time. Do you guys remember that when they were coming to WCW?
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a big hype they were coming to WCW. Then they came out to the NWO though. And here's these WWE guys, Razor and Diesel, whatever they were now, Hall and Nash and the NWO. I thought that was just a brilliant gimmick at first. And I think it just kind of shocked all the people at WCW. They came in and they made a huge impact for so long, which I think the storylines got ridiculous after they went on for so long with it. But man, when they first started that moment when the NWO was born on WCW, like first Monday night after they came, I thought that was just a moment in wrestling that was just kind of stopped time for a few minutes.
Yeah, that's definitely there's only like been a handful of moments in wrestling that you're like, wow, I just witnessed something spectacular. That being one where Hall and Nash just like appeared on WCW. Ian and I actually talked about one a few weeks ago where when WWE bought WCW and they simulcasted. Shane McMahon was on WCW and it was simulcasted at the same time on two different channels. That was one of those wow moments. Obviously the first WrestleMania, the third WrestleMania, a couple wow moments. Just different
the Black
things
Day
like
that came up after they bought buyout and all that. Yeah, those are the simulcast. That's awful. I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah. And well, a wow moment for me was I can tell you where I was at. I was watching the pay-per-view where unfortunately Owen Hart passed away, and I just remember it just happened and it cut away and it was black, and then me, my sister, my brother, my girlfriend at the time was all just sitting there. We're like, what just happened? And I didn't realize how big of a moment it would be at that moment, but I knew something wasn't right. Yeah. So there's not been but just a handful of those moments where you're like, holy cow, I just watched history. I just watched something that's going to be talked about forever.
Yeah.
And the Owen moment. Yeah, man. I know exactly whose house I was at when I watched that. I remember what gave it away that was real was when the King came on, and you could hear the graveness in his voice.
Yeah.
When Lawler spoke, I took my friends, and we all got quiet. We said, something's really wrong. He's dead. We knew it that instant.
Yeah, it was sad. I know exactly where I was sitting on the couch. There's just certain moments in history in general about anything that you just know, this is an important moment,
Yeah, and the one you started with, which was the Hall and Nash moment, which, for me is when I really started watching wrestling. I wasn't full on every Monday watching it, but that's around the point where I started watching. So I didn't know much about who Hall and Nash were when they came in, but now watching it back and thinking about it now, or thinking about it, in the past since I became a wrestling fan. I mean, it is just a big moment.
Yeah.
I mean, that
and you
two
guys
WWF
impressed
guys
me.
were invading.
You guys impressed me with your knowledge and that you want to learn about the history. I mean, I want to talk about stuff today before you guys were born. I mean, you guys impressed me with your knowledge in the past. I met a guy, Ben Thrasher. He was with Fire to Destroyer a few weeks ago on a TV show, and he was just a sponge and asking me questions and wanting to learn about old promotions that were defunct now and stuff. And I love preserving history.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love wrestling and anything wrestling.
Hit me with the next one.
I guess.
Yeah, because you said moment. All right. Let me ask you this. Now, I know you're not a wrestler, but have you had an embarrassing moment in wrestling?
I have. And this was just a few weeks before I met you guys and we did your interview. And we invited you to SCW, which you guys came up to. But I was at SCW's. And just a couple weeks before you guys did 2 or 3 weeks, filmed a documentary, and I always check. I run around crazy with the camera filming the matches, trying to get the best shot. It's a dark place in there; you can barely see. So I come to the backside where we all sit there, and I'm running back to the backwards with the camera, focused in. Well, someone between the matches had got the ring apron pulled out, and I caught it with my heel. Here I am with a $5,000 video of my hand going straight backwards. I reached out one hand, grabbed the corner post, and caught myself. And I just kind of sighed a relief on my face. I looked up, there was a little tiny girl on the front row says, "Sir, are you okay?" And that just kind of, and I looked at her and said, "Yes, thank you." But it was pretty embarrassing to go busting my rear end all over, flying down through there with the camera.
Yeah. At least you didn't break the camera.
It's so tight there. You guys have been to that arena.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a class meet. It's so tight and so dark, and I always look before I go, but man, I was coming really quick, and somehow the ring apron got pulled out, and it nearly cost me.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when we was up there, you was running around like crazy, taking pictures and doing stuff, and we was sitting right there where you was just talking about.
Yeah, it was right down that road towards the end of that thin wall back there where there was no seats on that wall. I was just coming out of the corner, but I caught the ring post and saved myself, and I had this, sigh of relief, and also this one girl was looking at me so kindly and just said, "Sir, are you okay?" And that kind of touched me.
Yeah. Well, if you could, what is your favorite wrestling move or finisher that you've seen?
Finisher, I like the sleeper hold. Especially back in the 70s, so many people used the sleeper hold back then, and then they had a responsibility of reviving them. I think Ken Lucas stands out in my mind. He wrestled with a lot of NWA, with Florida, Georgia, wrestled with Gulas, Memphis, Louisville, Chattanooga, Nashville. Ken Lucas was awesome, and I think he was the best. Matter of fact, my buddy Pat Rose, who wrestled with WCW later on, but he wrestled at Georgia Championship, Southeastern, Continental. His first professional match, Ken Lucas finished it with a sleeper on him, and his first ever professional match was on Chattanooga television. But I love the sleeper hold. So many people, Tony Atlas would use it. Mark Lewin used it. So many people through history have used that move.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what's crazy is one, you don't see it used a lot, and Ian, I don't know if you'll know this fact. B, I know you'll know this, but back in the day when they pitched in the sleeper hold, people really, really sold it. All right, and so the referee or the wrestler would sit you up afterwards. They'd rub like right behind your neck and then pop you to wake you up. All right, because they had to sell that you was really asleep. And I mean, you don't see that now at all. Yeah. But that used to be the thing back in the day. They pitched you in a sleeper hold. You passed out. They set you up. They rubbed right behind your neck on your upper back, and then they popped you on your back. And that woke you up.
Yeah, and you don't see those things. The wrestling has changed with the times. It definitely. That's one of the things it has. But I love the sleeper hold, the finisher back then.
Yeah. Man, my computer just went dark. Hang on a second.
Well,
all right, now let me elaborate on this question, B. It doesn't have to be a heavyweight champion. It can be any kind of champion throughout history. But who is your favorite champion of all time?
And I know all about this one. I'm going to say he held the Southeastern Heavyweight Champion. When he held that run, Jimmy Golden. I'm going to say, I don't know if you guys remember Jimmy, but he was Bunkhouse Buck later in WCW.
Yeah, I know who he is.
But he was Jimmy grew up in wrestling, he was a Southeastern Heavyweight Champion. He had a great run there, with Austin Idol, a great feud with Austin Idol. Later, I think Jimmy got rewarded when he held the WCW Tag Team title with Dick Slater when he was Bunkhouse. Yeah, he got rewarded for that. But I love Jimmy Garvin is still a great wrestler. One of the few guys that still to this day will do an inside suplex.
Huh.
A movie, a very power move you don't even see anymore.
Yeah.
Well, if you could say that somebody was overrated or underrated as a wrestler, who would you say that would be?
Okay, and I'm gonna give the fans one y'all know. I'm gonna give you two actually that are underrated in my book. One from the past in my childhood, and one from right now that's really impressed me. When I was younger, there was a guy named Les Thornton. I don't know if you guys remember him. He's the Indian World Heavyweight Junior Champion for a quite number of while. He was from England. He wrestled European style. In world class, they put him under a hood as checkmate, and he got a certain point there, but he was undersized, I guess, a little bit. And I thought he was always never got the credit he deserved. But Les Thornton was awesome wrestler. In the modern day, I kind of like this Chris Sabin guy now.
Yeah.
At TNA, he's getting a good push now, but man, I think this guy impresses me for some reason. I like Sabin on Impact.
Yeah. Well, he just came back from. He's been out for 2 years. He had two knee surgeries and.
Was it an injury he had? Was that right?
Do what?
Was it a knee injury? He had an ACL surgery, didn't he?
Yeah, on both knees. He had surgery on both knees. It put him out for 2 years.
Wow.
So he's been out for a long time.
I had a young time in my athletic career. I had an ACL, and I know what it is to come back from that. For him right now, come back where he's at, that guy impresses me.
Yeah, well, you know what I'm impressed by is he just became the X Division champion, and this past Impact he turned it over to Hogan for a chance to wrestle Bully Ray for the heavyweight for TNA's heavyweight title.
Oh wow!
So I'm excited to see that. So because he's
I am too.
Yeah, well, he's the only guy that has ever kicked out of Team 3D's finisher move, and he wrestled them and beat Bully Ray in Team 3D's retirement match as Team 3D or whatever. It's their last match together, so now they're trying to build that up a little bit.
Yeah.
Now,
that blows me away why the adversity he's overcame, and man, I'd like to see him get a push now, definitely. But that guy, maybe he's not underrated, but in my book, that guy holds the crown in my book.
Oh, absolutely. Now, who is your favorite stable or tag team of all time?
I've got two tag teams that stand out in my mind, I guess, maybe three. Jimmy Golden and Robert Fuller when they were the Continental Champions. Pat and Randy Rose, the Rose Cousins, Southeastern Tag Team Champions, but modern day, I like Gunner and Storm at TNA too again. I'm going back to that TNA. But yeah, Gunner and Storm recently, they seem to gel together, and man, I just like those guys for some reason.
Yeah, they're going by the Gunner and the Cowboy or something like that, or the Cowboy and the Gunner.
Yeah, the Cowboy Storm and Gunner. But man, those guys I've watched the last few weeks because I'm going to be doing upcoming fundraisers going to involve Doc from there. So I've been kind of following that, and those guys have impressed me lately.
Yeah. Well, I like James Storm. I've always thought, I don't think he's that great of a singles wrestler, but he can probably go down in history as the best tag team wrestler because he was with America's Most Wanted, and they won several tag team titles together with Chris Harris. Then he was with Beer Money Inc. with Robert Roode, and they won several tag team titles. And now he's with Gunner, and they're tag team champions now. I'm sure they're going to win. I'm sure they'll hold them for a while, and when they lose them, they'll win them several more times. I mean, so he's probably going to go down in history as one of the greatest tag team wrestlers.
I'm with you on that. I think, like I said, he didn't impress me much as a singles, a singles wrestler. However, there's a difference between a singles and a tag. It takes a whole different strategy and philosophy and psychology to it. But some people can't go out there and have a 20, 30-minute match, but they can go out there and do the tag still. And he's impressed me with his abilities in the tag.
Yeah. Now, the Dudleys, or Team 3D, however you want to look at them, they actually, as far as professional wrestling go, have held the most tag team titles. But I think James Storm has actually himself held more tag team titles with the different partners that he's had than the Dudleys actually have.
Huh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, because he was. I mean, if it's not more, it's right there at it. I mean, because he's been. I think he won the tag team titles at least 6-7 times with America's Most Wanted. about the same amount of times with Beer Money Inc. And then now they're tag team champions again right now.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm saying he's either right there or he's already passed them as him himself holding more tag teams. But the Dudleys have actually held the most tag team titles in professional wrestling history. So we actually know a tag team who's held more. In the independent scene, we know a tag team who's held more tag titles than.
I hope that was right about them keeping the belts for a while. I hope they have a good run there. I'd like to see those guys gutter and still have a good run.
Well, B, I'll tell you this. You know who Michael Cross is?
Absolutely, yes. He's a friend of mine.
Him and Seth Cruz have actually held more tag team titles all around Georgia than the Dudleys have.
Really?
Yes.
Awesome. Let's plug Cross. He's a great guy. Man, Cross is an awesome guy.
Yeah, we actually have an interview with him that'll be up in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And,
sweet.
I wish we would have talked about that now, but I didn't think about it then. But him and his tag partner Seth Cruz have actually held more tag titles all over North Georgia than the Dudleys have.
Wow.
Hats off to them, those guys. And going down these local shows, you see a lot of great talent, man. I'm more of the old school wrestler, but today the high flyers. I love to see Mikey Watkins at TWA work. That guy, pound for pound, is awesome in my book.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Well, our last question on the list is, can you think of a catchphrase that would be your favorite catchphrase from a wrestling wrestler or wrestling promotion?
The wrestling world, I'm going back to probably the 70s here, but back before WCW was born, Georgia Championship Wrestling was on PBS back then before it became Turner Network and all that. It's channel 70 in Atlanta. And Gordon Soley, the dean of all wrestling announcers, would always sign off and would say goodbye for Peach State of Georgia, and I always loved that. That was always his sign off from Georgia Championship Wrestling, which was every Saturday night on television.
Yeah.
And that was just an awesome one. They had wrestling too there, Tommy Rich,
Yeah,
Flair
Tommy Wildfire Rich.
Oh man, awesome. Jack Briscoe.
Well, you know what? You know what I hate? I hate that the newer generation, they don't get to know who Gordon Soley was. They don't get to know that Gordon Soley was wrestling. He was, when it came to announcers in wrestling in the 80s and 70s and stuff, the name that popped in your mind was Gordon Soley. He was the best. Now everybody's going to say Jerry Lawler and the King, in which, you know what, I'm not going to take any credit for them. They are phenomenal. But for me, in my book, it will always be Gordon Soley's number one.
I was fortunate to grow up with him. Him calling every show I watched just about. He'll hear Harry Thornton in Chattanooga, but Gordon was just unbelievable. He would have wrestlers put him in holds to feel, how excruciating it was. And he sold it maybe more than anyone else did with his announcing.
Yeah.
I mean, that guy would just totally, he did parts of the body. It was like a little Lombard, he would make calls, but the guy was just brilliant in what he did. He was by far, he studied his craft and perfected it. Yeah,
he was phenomenal. And then, I would have to say, I really like Joe Pedicino and Bonnie Blackstone. They did the whole, it was Channel 69 back in the day before cable had a million channels.
Yeah, Atlanta, I remember that. I may have some episodes of that, some tapes. I don't know.
Well, it started off at 6 or 8 o'clock at night with WCW, then WWE ran one, and then it was North Georgia Wrestling, and then there was a bunch of independent wrestling shows, and it was just phenomenal. And Joe Pedicino and Bonnie Blackstone, they was married in real life. They did it from their thing, not at each show, but they had their own set thing, and I remember them. Because I used to try and stay up every Saturday night to see if I could watch all the wrestling. I never made it. I always passed out about. But my dad always said I passed out between midnight and 1 o'clock, and it went off at 3 in the morning. And so I always try to stay up to watch it, and I never could. But I mean, I just remember, to me, those were the golden days of wrestling. I was a kid. I loved it. It was way before Ian was born. So, I mean, it was awesome. So, well, B, those are our 10 questions. I was with you today. It was before one thing I was saying, before Ian was born, I was born back in the 60s, man. I'm 45 now. And, but man, I loved what it was back then. I'm not discrediting what it was, what it is today, by any means. Things change and develop through time. But man, I miss the era I grew up in. Yeah, I miss my era that I grew up in watching wrestling.
Me too. I miss that attitude era.
Yeah, Ian misses the attitude era. So I mean, he didn't get to enjoy wrestling before that. I mean, which I wish you really could have.
Yeah.
But B, that was our 10 questions. Thank you for answering those. What do you have coming up here soon? Are you going to be at any shows?
I'm trying to think what we're going to know. I've got a thing called Pat Rose. Maybe I haven't announced this yet. Pat and I haven't locked it down, but we may be working on a very special release on kind of history wrestling with Pat Rose and I, which Pat was part of the Southeast Tag Team Champions. He was the Alabama Heavyweight Champion in NWA at one time. Pat had some success at WCW, but he and I are maybe working on a release some news in the next week or so, we hope, on a special project we're going to do with some history of wrestling. Perhaps. Like I said, the fundraising things we've got the Road to the Ring coming up and the Austin Dillon thing are near to my heart. One's a fundraiser for a benefit for Woody Warriors, 100% of the money going to that. That'll be 100% of the money going to Erlanger's and Chattanooga Sibley Heart Care, the T.C. Thompson Children's Heart Hospital there. But those things are special to me. We're trying to finish up the documentary now. We just got a little bit more shooting to do, a few more interviews, and the editing starts, and that's going to be a chore, man. Putting 40 hours worth of stuff into an hour and a half.
Yeah. Hey, well, listen.
That's going to be a challenge.
Post those links on Ring Icon. We'll promote them on Ring Icon. Post the links on Ring Icon. I'll promote it on my Facebook page. I mean, Ian will promote it. We'll get this. We want to get it going. Even your charity stuff, post it on Ring Icon. We'll get people behind it, get some wrestlers behind it, and get it taken off.
Yeah, definitely. We have a thing on. I work with a TV station up in Chattanooga. I help on Thursday nights. We do a show called Sports Viewpoints. It's on Channel 39, WYHB TV 39 in Chattanooga. And we focus on a lot of professional wrestling there. Our host is Bill Bowen. He's an awesome host. Frankie Frazier's our production manager, and he's like I am. He's my age, and he's an old wrestling fan from years back. And we bring a lot of indie wrestlers on that. So if there's any indie wrestlers that hear this, if you're in the Chattanooga area, a promoter, you want to come on, contact me through Facebook. They can find me through you guys. And, man, we want to get you guys up soon if you guys can arrange it for your work schedules. But we love to talk wrestling on there. We've had so many different guests lately on there. We had the Nature Boy Paulie not long ago. We had Cyrus the Destroyer, Ben Thrasher, Big Wood, Woody was on. Pat Rose was on. Mikey Watkins has been on several times. We had a guy named Josh Frost on just past Thursday who was wrestling in Chattanooga at the Glass Street show there.
Yeah.
And we love to have guests to come on and promote wrestling. I do some video features and special productions for that show. And we're looking at Kyle Matthews. So Kyle Matthews, if you see this, we want you on. I'll plug that.
All right. Yeah, we definitely want to try and get up there and be on it.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, B. James, thanks for being on the show. Thanks for answering the questions. We look forward to seeing you again, and we really look forward to this documentary, and we hope we can get the word out, and you can get more backers, and we can get this thing taken care of.
Yep.
Hey, guys, I appreciate you for having me and Daryl, man, so much. And thanks for what you guys do.
Well, thank you. All right, you have a nice day, sir.
All right, we'll see you guys.
All right, well, that was B. James. I gotta say, I think that's one of my favorite interviews so far. I mean, just simply because knowledge-wise, I really enjoy talking to him.
Yeah, he knows everything from, beginning of wrestling all the way to even now. I mean, he keeps up with it all, and
I really enjoyed that. Let us know what y'all think about the interview.
Yeah.
Please check out their Kickstarter page.
Just go to kickstarter.com and you can search wrestling and you'll find Wrestlin North Georgia style.
Yeah.
Help them out. They're looking for, $1,200 or $1,500, and they have a lot of great things. I don't know if you know how Kickstarter works, but basically they have a lot of different pledges you can do. You can go at just $1. You can just give them $1. You can get on their email list and just get the updates and things like that.
I know at like $12 you get a DVD.
Yeah.
And
so you can pre-purchase the DVD at $12. You can get T-shirts a little more. You can go from either $1 all the way up to $1,200, where they put on a whole show for you.
And 25 of your friends.
And 25 of your friends and
dinner.
And
give you a dinner.
Yeah, for $1,200 you can have a whole party. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can if the little bit of money you give, $1 could help them out, all the way up to funding the whole thing. So if you have a little bit of money to help them finish up the documentary, they've already got it filmed. B does video editing and things like that. So I think the money that they're looking for is really just for production of DVDs and things like that.
Well, I know we're going to help out. We're going to donate to the cause because we're very passionate about it, and we're also in it, so that kind of helps too.
Yeah.
But even if we wasn't in it, we would still throw money in it because it's something that we're passionate about, obviously.
I mean, just helping out the indie scene of, getting people to know about it, because there are a whole load of fans that watch WWE that have no idea about the indie scene.
Yeah.
So, I mean, getting people to recognize the
indie. You was at my house the other day, and I had some people over. And Ian and I was talking about some stuff we was filming up, and one of the guys was like looking like, "What are y'all talking about?" And then my other buddy goes, they film a wrestling podcast and stuff on YouTube," and the guy was just like blown. He didn't realize that wrestling was like that big and stuff like that. And I talked to him after he left. I'm like, "Yeah, this is what we do," and he's like, "Oh man, I'm about to check it out," because he didn't know. So I mean, there's a lot of people that don't know about indie wrestling. And to me, indie wrestling is where it's at. I love indie wrestling. I know you love indie wrestling. It's the
foundation. I mean, it's where WWE came from.
Yeah.
I mean, originally back in the 70s and 80s, they were considered an indie promotion. I mean, sort of.
Yeah. Well, if there's anybody y'all want us to interview, or y'all think should be interviewed, or if there's questions from future people or anything like that, let us know. Shoot us a message. Make sure you go back, check out last week's interview. We just got a bunch of great people that want to be on the show. I've had people been contacting me left and right, like, "Hey, Daryl, I want to get on there," stuff like that. So we got a whole bunch of people that actually want to be interviewed for the show, which is great for us, great for y'all, because y'all get to know more about some independent wrestlers and people that's been in the business a long time,
Yeah.
And so we want to again thank BJ's for being on the show. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll see y'all next time.
Yep. Y'all have a good day.